He's an icon on this police department. He is everything as a police chief you'd want your officers to be.
Tragedy on the Valley roadways. Officer Brandon Mendoza, a model police officer, killed on his way home from work.
We have team coverage this morning for you as we remember this fallen officer, sadly enough, just as National Police Appreciation Week begins. Nick Van Zandt and Angie Holsworth both helping us understand who Officer Mendoza was and the impact he had on our community.
Angie, let's start
that's right.
with you.
We've been here at the hospital here all morning long. Such a sad scene, and that sadness still kind of lingers in the air. We saw officers showing up here since very early to pay their respects. And then it was just a short time ago that there was a procession, a motorcade of about a dozen or so police officers from the Mesa Police Department who escorted the officer from the hospital here to the medical examiner's office. Now, here's what we know about that officer. He was identified as 32-year-old Brandon Mendoza. He's a veteran with the police department there, and he had a passion for community policing, and he actually died while he's on his way home.
This job is absolutely incredibly dangerous at times, and for Brandon to be killed on his way home from work just is something that's hard for all of us to struggle with. We all kind of think once we get in our own car and we get to head home that we're good for that day, and Brandon didn't make it home that night.
We understand he had some close and extended family members here in the Valley. Obviously, such a tragic time for them and the entire community as well. Back to you, Connie Down.
Just a tragedy here. Thank you, Angie.
As far as Officer Mendoza goes, you keep hearing these words, model officer, an icon in the department, not just there, but as a citizen in the community as a whole as well.
He was 32 years old, and he was well on his way to leaving behind a legacy of good deeds. We've heard from a lot of people today who've all said this, and ABC 15's Nick Van Zandt is in Gilbert, where he just spoke exclusively with Officer Mendoza's friend. Nick?
Yeah, this was a longtime friend of his, and really, let's just go straight to what he has to say. He can tell this story best about how difficult these last couple of hours have been for not only him, but Mendoza's family.
You could take anything away from him, just be kind to each other. He always was. He was always there for me. Even in my dark times, he never gave up on me when other people did. The thing that matters is that he's gone. It doesn't matter how, he's gone. He's not here anymore. I can't pick up the phone. I can't call him. I can't have lunch with him. I can't tell him about something good that happened. He's gone. That's all that matters.
The person you just heard from, Kyle Shields, a longtime friend. They've basically known each other since they were very little kids. They went to school together, high school, knew him all the way through college, having a very difficult time. But it's really it's not just the people that knew him very well. It's people throughout the entire community. Take a look at this video and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. Officer Mendoza was very involved in the Mesa community, and one of the things that he was doing was revitalizing Guerrero Rotary Park. He had this mission that he just wanted to make it nicer for the community. They got new playground equipment. You can see how nice of a park this was. And you just heard from family and friends of his, but we also talked to people who knew him as an acquaintance. Even they said that he was really trying to just make this community better and was such a good person.
Trying to help. He was trying to make this place to look a lot better. I think he was, I don't know. It's just a good person, I think.
We've talked with both of those people, and they both say that they want to go ahead and try to keep his legacy alive by continuing to be involved in the community just like he was, and trying to continue to make that park just a great place to be around. Dan and Connie, back to you.
Yeah, tough to deal with. Nick, thank you for bringing us that information, though. It's great to hear from family, just to kind of put it in context.
What an impact he had on everyone. We want to take you back now to last night and how this tragedy happened. We understand that this all started near the Loop 101 at Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. We're told a wrong-way driver drove north in the southbound lanes of the 101 all the way up until he had reached over into the 51, where he continued going the wrong way, driving south on the northbound lanes of 51 until he reached the I-10.
After 35 miles of driving in the wrong direction, that driver crashed into Officer Mendoza in the westbound HOV lanes where the US 60 connects with I-10. Now, we're told this is an area where there's no way that Officer Mendoza would have seen this driver coming. He wouldn't have had really much of any time to react. Now, according to DPS, an officer risked his life trying to provide a kind of a traffic break. He then attempted to ram that wrong-way driver's car. That did not work, though. The driver went around. Half a dozen DPS officers were actively trying to stop this guy But being that it was a Sunday night, the DPS spokesperson said their ranks were, quote, stretched thin, and they weren't able to stop him before he crashed into Officer Brandon Mendoza. Investigators believe that the driver was impaired. Again, that's a belief right now. We should learn that identity of the driver later on today.
ABC 15 taking action, teaming up with the 100 Club of Arizona. We're going to hold a phone bank tonight to support fallen Officer Mendoza's family.
You can call in tonight between 4 and 7 o'clock and help out. To donate, the number is there on your screen, 855-522-1515. Again, that is from 4 to 7 this evening right here on ABC 15.